Hey everybody, Coach Keith Keppner here. I'm going to do a fight study review on the Anthony Joshua versus Dubois fight. And I'm not going to run through every single moment of the entire fight, like a whole thing, because copyright shoot me down and stuff like that. And even though uh, Turkey Al Sheik posted the whole video on his YouTube channel, I'm weary of getting a copyright strike. So I'm going to do bits and pieces of it. And I got my notes here that I ran through, and it hopefully will provide an even better analysis than other fight studies I've done. This was a great fight. This was a this was a great fight. Obviously, there's things I'm going to talk about, but yeah, this is a good fight. Good for boxing. All right, let's go into it though. All right, so Joshua, as we know, he has some fundamental challenges, flaws uh, that he continually hasn't improved. And it's interesting. He's an interesting guy in the sense that he shows a lot of heart sometimes, and then sometimes kind of doesn't. It's really interesting. He's an interesting guy. Um, all right, and again, massive respect to both guys and getting to the level they've gotten to and everything else. And of course, big congratulations to Dubois with the big victory. And who knows, man? Joshua has done this roller coaster thing, so who knows? Maybe he could come back. But I'm going to talk about some technical things, or a lot of technical things throughout this entire fight, as well as just kind of recapping the fight. All right, so and then now that the dust has settled, a week later is when I feel time to do it. Doing this early on a Sunday morning. All right, so round one, Joshua's chin is high, and he gets hit by the right because the chin is high. That's one of the most basic things is, yes, you can get away with your chin being high, but you're going to get hit with some shrapnel, some extra things that you didn't expect, right? And if you do happen to crash your car or your time in the ring, you're more likely to get killed. We don't want to do that. So he gets hit by that right hand because that chin is high. And then right back, you see Dubois' chin is down behind his jab. And that's that classic basic jab. You want to put that chin down behind it, and that shuts down a lot of right hands. Does it shut down all right hands? No. If they shoot higher on your head or they arc it a little bit more, it can still catch you. That's where mixing in other things like a cross catch and things like that are going to be beneficial. But regardless, that's a built-in default defense that Joshua does not have because his chin is not even neutral. It's up, and it even goes up on some of his jabs, like up higher than neutral. So Joshua tries. Okay, the ref complains about Dubois' head on the inside while Joshua's holding him. Now Dubois not excessively rubbing his head in there, I think personally, and AJ's chin is up, Dubois' chin is down. This is the position that happens. What does the ref want him to do? Put his head up high like Joshua? Is that good boxing? Of course, the ref throughout this entire fight shows himself to not be the ideal person for the job. Now, let's see. Joshua tries to feint, but he's not set up off of anything hard. And that's where I talk about. You should watch the whole video that I did on feinting. But a feint is going to work best if there is something that people are worried about, right? If I, for instance, reach into my pocket and pull out a lollipop every time, you're not going to be very nervous about me reaching in my pocket. But if I pull out a gun sometimes, you're going to be nervous about it and you might react to it. And therefore, it allows me to exploit that reaction. That's what we need to do with a proper feint. Uh, 2 warnings on Dubois on his head, but nothing for Joshua in holding in this first round. Right? So already, and that's where if the ref really wants to enforce things, it's 2 warnings and a point. Which I guess maybe he doesn't actually warn him again for the head in the entire fight, even though Dubois does the same exact thing, which is not illegal, which is just keeping his chin down on the inside, and Joshua has his head up. But Joshua excessively holds throughout this entire fight, and according to the Association of Boxing Commissions, this is not legal, excessive holding. All right. Joshua's chin is up at the end of the round while he's moving on his bicycle, and he gets hit right on the button with the right hand by Dubois. This is where he's moving away from the punch. So he's minimizing the power of the punch. But again, this is how powerful it is, guys, to hit people on the button, the jaw. If you hit people on the jaw, it's going to have a massive impact on them like it did to Joshua when their head is up. So therefore, we want to know that for ourselves so we don't keep our chin up so we get hit more in areas that are going to be less detrimental. They can still be detrimental, but less. And then just like getting in a car accident, you're safer with a safety belt on than if you aren't. You could still get hurt and die with a safety belt on, but it's less likely. All right, or with airbags, things like that. Same thing with the chin down. And if your opponent has that chin up, we need to target it. And regardless, even if it's up or down, we need to target it. Now, going into round two, the jab, the ability to defend against the jab, and the chin position is what I would argue is the key things of this whole entire fight. All right, you can put into all these other things of Dubois' motivation to win this fight, Joshua's maybe lack of focus or whatever it is. But let's go down to the nuts and bolts, technical stuff that we can actually quantify, right? Not the not the kind of minutia of what if and what was he thinking and what did he have for breakfast that morning, but the actual technical situation of the battlefield. It comes down to the jab by Dubois. It comes down to the jab defense or lack thereof, and then chin position. That's really what this fight comes down to, and we're already seeing that play out by round two. Uh, Dubois' jab and combos, right? He does a jab and throws a combination. He does oftentimes a double jab and then a combination. That basic multi-jab strategy that I've talked about, that you should check out my video on the whole multi-jab strategy. Again, is this like something special that I created? No. This is basic boxing. Basic boxing. Again, I'm not demeaning Dubois' performance or Anthony Joshua's performance of getting affected by it by calling it basic boxing. I'm not saying, hey, it's elementary school stuff. Come on, guys. It's even though it is basic stuff, it works at every level of the game. And just like if you are a master at building skyscrapers, if you miss one of the foundational keys, the whole thing might come toppling down on you. All right. So Dubois jabs and combinations. Joshua holds. Dubois gets a warning for a forearm. So Dubois tries to shut down the hold by putting out his forearm, which is you're not allowed to do that. Okay, it's something you can try to do, and you might not get called on it, but you're not allowed to do that. But you're also not allowed to excessively hold. All right. So ref, what are you gonna say? One word to Joshua. He never does throughout the entire fight. Now, what Dubois does though, right before that is off the jab and the combination. Is Dubois does what you should do. One of the things you can do and should do against someone trying to hold you is he steps back a little bit. So therefore, as Joshua's reaching out, trying to grab him, Joshua's actually getting hit, trying to reach out and grab, and Dubois is minimizing getting held. If he would have done this more, he would have got the job done sooner. But regardless, good technique to work on and to remember. D's or Dubois, I wrote down D because Dubois is just whatever. Wrote down D and J, right? But Dubois' jab nails a high chin. And it does this repeatedly throughout the entire fight. And that's where, again, it comes down to the jab defense, and the chin position. That jaw getting snapped and snapped over and over again not only controls the head completely, which makes it very clear to judges who's getting hit, especially if you're an amateur boxer, but a pro boxer too, makes it very clear. But then secondly, it shuts down so much of your countering ability versus if you had your chin down and you got hit. All right, let's not get hit regardless, but if we had our chin down and got hit, our head gets controlled less and it allows us to do more, right? Outside of the factors that it's going to hurt you more at the tip of the chin. Very important stuff. It seemed as if Joshua's whole strategy with jabs was to step out of jabs. But just like we know, at a high level, we can't have just one strategy. We'd have multi-levels of strategies or abilities. Really, tactics is the correct word. Now, Dubois' left hook catches a high chin. Then he does a double jab and left hook for the body. So Joshua's moving with that chin up in the air. And even though his hand is up, it doesn't matter. The chin is exposed. And with guys like this with big shoulders, man, their shoulders should be getting in the way. I'm not saying they should be shrugging their shoulders up, but just by the mere factor of your chin being down, you having big shoulders like these guys, the shoulders should be getting in the way of a lot more shots than they do for instance, AJ. Like I said, Dubois double jabs, 3 for the body. Then AJ does the jab for the body, and he gets countered with the most classic counter you can imagine. And again, it all goes back to basics. It works at every single level of the game. He does that jab for the body, and Dubois sees that jab for the body, comes with the right over top. What did Joshua do wrong here? A couple things. And there's a couple solutions. One is if you set it up with a jab up high, then the jab to the body is a little bit more disguised. Then the next step to that is, what does he follow it up with? He kind of hangs there. If he jabs for the body, comes back with the right hand up top, or just the jab back up top, or jabs for the body, comes back to the 3 up top. Those are some classic follow-ups. Jab to the body, 2 up top. Jab to the body, 3 up top, or jab to the body, jab back up top. He's going to shut down that counter, like Dubois shuts down his right hand later in the fight with the jab. All right, that wraps up round number 2. Round number 3, Dubois 1-2 lands, and then AJ tries to come back with a 2 and doesn't because of Dubois' chin position, right? Very simple, basic boxing stuff here. But we can't forget it. Both would benefit from a hand in front defense. That's what's really revealing throughout this entire fight. So obviously AJ, the chin needs to be down, right? And that's like, everything would be better if the chin was down for AJ. I would also argue too, his power is going to increase. I know what you might be saying, like, what the hell, really? Yeah, absolutely. So his head probably weighs about 15 pounds, okay? Might weigh more. He's a big dude. If he puts that weight behind the punch more, he's going to have more power. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Test it out a little bit. Throw with your head up in the air, throw with your chin down, and you can probably feel a little bit of a power difference. Now, both, okay, like I said, both will benefit, though, from having that rear hand in front more, that classic boxing idea, right, of having that rear hand in front so we can stop a lot more of these jabs, so they stop controlling our head, all right? And then as long as you manage range well, you are minimizing likelihood of getting caught by a left hook. But both these guys are kind of defaulting with the hand on the side, which, again, I teach that too, hand on the side. I also teach hand up front. We teach both. But you see, it's like, man, if you're getting caught and you can't see it, because both these guys have trouble seeing each other's jabs for whatever reason. I would argue it's because they're looking at each other's eyes, like two lovers would, versus watching the chest. And you watch the chest, you'll be able to see that jab. You'll be able to see the shoulder, things like that. Be able to read things as they come. Eyes lie, okay? Yes, absolutely. If you're looking at someone's eyes, it can give you an idea if they're hurt and things like that. But when we're talking high-level boxing with tactics and everything else, and we're not seeing the jab coming, or if you're not seeing the jab coming, it's probably because you're not looking at the chest. You're looking up there. And also that pops your chin up as well. So Dubois' double jab pops AJ. Again, the beauty of the double jab. Watch that multi-jab strategy video of mine if you haven't already, or watch it again. Great things that, my father really harped on very hard and got ingrained in my skull. Dubois' counter right uppercut. Yes, as AJ drops after the overhand. So AJ kind of does, overhand style shot, something like that with his right hand. And Dubois comes with a beautiful counter that is the counter that you want to do against somebody doing that's going to stay on that side. Now, I'm going to talk about what the answer is for AJ, what he could have and should have, right, done, or what you can do if you get caught by shots like that to minimize the likelihood of getting caught by shots like that. Now, sometimes at the end of the day, we can't stop stuff, but, theoretical answers that do work. But anyway, he comes with that overhand style shot, right hand shot, kind of leans over on Dubois' right side, AJ's left side. Dubois comes with the right uppercut. Great counter to work on, because that's something that's available a lot of times when you're boxing against many different types of boxers. Then Dubois' double jab. Dubois' double jabs are oftentimes the key in this fight. Completely nullifies and shuts down AJ. AJ does the same overhand style shot, right hand, gets grazed by the counter right uppercut. All right. And at that moment, he counts his chickens before they hatch, and he's like, I'm good. But he comes back up, chin is up. Doesn't matter that his hand is up, his chin is up. And he gets hit by Dubois' follow-up shot. This is where, like I talked about in the shadowboxing video, follow-up shots after missing is so important, all right? If Dubois throws the uppercut style shot and misses it, grazes it like he does on AJ, and AJ stands right back up afterwards and says, oh man, I only got slightly nicked by that shot, I'm good. And Dubois doesn't follow it up, that knockdown doesn't happen, all right? But because Dubois basically just grazed that right uppercut shot, didn't land it as clean as he did earlier, because he followed it up with the left hand shot, he caught AJ not paying attention and hurt him. All right? This is where shadowboxing is important, being able to miss and come back. Too many guys, all of us, many levels of fighters, elite and low level, will miss and stop, miss and come back, and you can get very good things like Dubois does with hurting AJ with that. And then WTF with the ref and the corner and AJ's corner. Um, right. So AJ touches the canvas with his gloves. Did the ref not see that? Maybe. I mean, whatever. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Okay. But, and the ropes are holding this guy up the whole time, basically. And then also the corner of AJ goes in there. You can tell they're the A side, and they know they're the A side, and they don't give a crap about anybody in a sense because they go in the ring while the ref is still counting, and the ref is not taking control of the situation. The ref is supposed to be God in the ring. All right, he's supposed to be in charge of everything, and it is his ring. It is the ref's ring. And so, dude, you don't go getting in the ring with the ref, or the ref just doesn't just let you stand in there while he counts the guy, right? So again, not a good look, not a good look. Now, going on to round number 4, but AJ gets essentially saved by the bell because if there's more time to that round, even with the counts going in there, but if there's more time to the round, he'd probably be out of there. All right, round 4, Dubois' jab and AJ's high chin. It rocks and drops him. So remember, AJ's hurt right now. He's hurt very bad from the end of that last round. He's only had 60 seconds to recover. Dubois does what a good guy should do, goes out there, putting a little bit of heat on him. But how does he put heat on him? He doesn't put heat on him with all this other nonsense people put heat on him with, that AJ actually tries to put heat on him when he hurts Dubois later, but he puts heat on with the jab. And when your chin is up in the air and you're already concussed, you get hit there with a jab, you're going to get hurt. And that's what happens to AJ. And again, this goes back to me preaching, guys. Chin down, chin down, chin down. Keep your chin protected because if you are hurt, all they got to do is touch that button and you might be going down. All right? All right, so ref does not know how to wave off a fall. Right? Like what? Again, we're all human. We all make mistakes. All right? And I'm sure he's not a bad person. But come on. You don't wave your hands up in the air to wave off or a knockdown, right? To wave off that it was a fall or a slip. He waves it up like waves it off like he's calling the fight. It's crazy. It's really crazy stuff. It's ridiculous. It's really rookie. It's the type of stuff you would see like at a club fight, right? On a state level, not the heavyweight championship of the world, right? Now, excessive holding again by AJ. Excessive. Double arm reaching out and holding. Excessive. Ref says nothing the entire time. Against a different referee or with a different referee, that referee would have called it, taken points, and this fight would have been a lot different. And it would have been an even better fight. It was a great fight in the history of boxing, but it would have been even better. Now, and it was great for boxing, though. This fight was great for boxing. So excited for this fight to happen, or how it played out. A lot of good back and forth. Now, this is where Dubois needs that in order to shut down that holding. One is he needs to know how to work out of holds or execute what he knows. He might know. Because that's one thing I've made this mistake plenty of times, saying, oh, this guy doesn't know how to do this. He doesn't know how to catch a jab. He doesn't know how to, slip this punch. He doesn't know how to do this, that. These guys know a lot more than you think they know. All right? Now, sometimes you get surprised. but what he needs to do is he needs to, one, if he gets tied up, have more ways to work out of the hold. By the way, just to plug my video on getting out of holds, basically almost every type of hold, go check it out on this channel. And I think it's called breaking out of every type of hold or whatever. And then, but second is, if he just did what he did earlier for that one instance of going in and out a little bit, then, and mixing in the jab, then he keeps himself from getting too smothered and getting held, right? As you recall earlier, what was it, round 1? I think it was. Oh, no, it was round 2. Dubois hurts him, throws a jab or a couple jabs combination and then steps in and out as he's throwing as AJ's trying to reach out and grab him. And he's nailing AJ, and AJ's not getting the hold. That is what he needs more of. That's what he needs more of. All right, then Dubois lands the 1-3. Great combination. 1-3. Basic stuff. It's like too often guys don't practice that. They'll practice a 1-2. They don't practice a 1-3 enough. Great combination. AJ tries the big uppercut lead and gets away with it in this round 4. So he does, again, there's so many telltale signs of what's going to happen. And this is how fights are. there's pieces, there's little things that are there that are reoccurring themes that are going to pop up again that if you've been paying attention as a fighter, you can exploit. And if you don't, you won't. And also paying attention as a corner as well. But AJ tries that big right uppercut, just shooting it out there, kind of going for broke with it. But he has his left hand up, shuts down the right hand counter, and that's where it should tell you, AJ. Ideally lock that in your computer that hey, I shoot this uppercut shot, and I almost got counter with this right hand. He tried to counter me, so maybe I don't need to just lead with that uppercut later, and we'll talk about the challenges with that as it came up. Now Joshua tries to jab, tries to feint the jab and land the two again, and D shuts him up. Dubois shuts him up with the jab. Beautiful example of the jab shutting things up, right? You want to make someone shut up? A good jab is going to do that. So AJ, I think he does it earlier too. Maybe he doesn't, but I think he does. Oh yeah, no, he does. Yeah, right. I talked about it earlier, right? He tried that feint of the jab, and then or try to feint and shoot it too, and it didn't do anything or didn't get what he wanted because there was nothing believable or nothing that Dubois was concerned with from that feint that the feint looked like that made him pay attention to that and bite on it and therefore get hit by the two. And so then again, Joshua has not done definitive enough jabs, or it's not present enough in Dubois' mind that he tries the feint, comes back with the two, and Dubois just shuts him up with the jab right inside of the right hand. And because Dubois has his chin down, he's not in that much danger of the right hand. If he has that chin up as he jabs, he possibly is in danger. Also, if he's too close with the jab, he is in danger as well. He keeps good distance on it, and that's the key as well. All right. Again, so many great nuances. Now, moving on to round number 5. AJ feints, but again, there's no real reason for concern. Now he's feinting, which is right. It is stalling the clock. All right. So that's something. That's something. There's a reason sometimes to stall the clock. Maybe in this situation there is. Maybe there's not. But anyway, you see a lot of feinting by AJ in the beginning of this 5th round. And again, though, like I said, there's nothing that he's done or is doing right before that or anything that makes Dubois want to buy into the feint, right? And that's where a lot of guys make this mistake. We'll go out there and we'll feint. And unless you have a newer guy or an overreactive guy, he's going to stop. He's going to start ignoring those things and doing what he wants to do. But if you give him something to think about, right? The hard shot that he feels on his body somewhere, it doesn't have to even be a scoring area, then he has something to think about and reasons to bite on the feint. Or if you nail him with a punch and then feint that punch, he's going to be very likely to overreact to that punch, and you'll get an opportunity to exploit him. All right, so that's where, just a little bit later, AJ snaps Dubois' head with the jab. Snaps it. Good snap of the jab. AJ has a decent jab. He doesn't do it enough. He doesn't respect his jab enough or appreciate his jab enough, and it costs him a lot. Anyway, so he snaps Dubois' head with the jab. Then that opens up the door for the feint to finally work. So he feints low, drops a little bit, and that's enough of a movement to get someone distracted when they're worried about a jab, and comes with that right hand and rocks Dubois. Big possible turnaround moment in this fight. It's like, oh my goodness, this guy's going to come back. This is exciting and phenomenal, right? And it's what, without that, this isn't a good fight, right? Or it's not as good of a fight as it is, right? But with that moment, it is a good fight. Because there's some back and forth. And that's something, obviously, right, what makes a good fight. We don't want just utter shutouts and dominations. Now, AJ gets wild trying to finish it, right? He gets too greedy trying to finish it. We can be greedy with certain punches. We can be greedy with the jab, all right? We can be a little bit greedy with body work, all right? But the one thing you don't want to be greedy with is big headshots. Big headshots and uppercuts can be a recipe for disaster. And of course, it is a recipe for him, as we know, with the knockout that everyone's seen, is that AJ does that uppercut that he did earlier, that big uppercut lead, throws it naked, right? He's out there in the wind, just naked with the uppercut. He doesn't set it up with a jab or any other punch. It could be a left hook he sets it up with and then throws it, which would actually maybe put Dubois in a better position to get hit by it. But instead, he just leads with it, and his chin is up in the air, out in the wind, and he's not prepared for the right hand counter, which came before. It came before AJ, and your corner should have saw it. Everyone should have saw it. I mean, of course, maybe you just, I don't know. Did your I heard people say that the corner said to throw an uppercut or go for broke. I heard that. I didn't hear that rewatching the fights or anything and going through it a few times. So tell me in the comments if they did. But anyway, he does that big uppercut, leads with it, no setup before it, not even a feint, while he's also doing other bombs. Dubois knows in this moment that AJ is just trying to bomb. So therefore, and he catches him with that right hand with AJ trying to bomb. Right? So AJ tries to bomb and Dubois catches him with the right hand. That could have been the shot that did it. It didn't. It didn't land the right way. But because of AJ throwing that uppercut and with the chin up in the air, that right hand from Dubois lands the right way and gets the job done. And again, AJ's had cumulative damage in this fight. You know, he's gotten concussed multiple times. So when you've been concussed, it's easier to get concussed in one night, but also in your entire career. So again, good fight. Very good. You know, it's a fight that I think will be remembered and is a exciting back and forth 5-round heavyweight fight. And that's my analysis of it. A lot of good things to learn from it. A lot of techniques, things that work, things that don't work, and different answers and proper technique and foundation. See, guys, it all goes back to the basics. It all goes back to the basics. A lot of different coaches I've worked with, whether it's in boxing or in other combat sports, it all goes back to the basics. Basics are key. And the more you can keep that basic foundation, it will pay dividends at a beginner level, intermediate, or higher level. And just because someone's getting away without the basics or without certain aspects of the basics for a long time doesn't mean they aren't running the risk of paying the price, right? It's just like anything else. You can smoke a pack a day of cigarettes and live to your 90, but what are you probably going to experience? You're probably going to experience bad health. You're probably going to experience lung cancer. All right. All right, guys. Hope you like this video. Make sure you drop me a super thanks for this video. Maybe like and subscribe, of course. Consider joining level 2. It'll give you analysis of your sparring, training, and everything else. And make sure you watch out for the next video, guys. Also, check out the videos on the multi-jab strategy. Check out the video on how to break out of any hold. And then, did I have another video that I mentioned? Oh, yeah, feinting, because we saw all 3 of those concepts play out in this one really awesome heavyweight fight.